Hi, everybody. This is Robert Waggoner. I'm very happy to be here today as part of the World of Lucid Dreaming uh, group. And Jake at World of Lucid Dreaming has invited me the first week of each month to do a little session on lucid dreaming. And so, what we're going to do today is spend about 15 minutes. I'm going to show you a little bit of a PowerPoint that I created about a recent lucid dream that was submitted to the Lucid Dreaming Experience magazine and talk about that. And then we'll open it up for questions. And, now that I think about it, Jake sent me a question that somebody had submitted. So, somewhere along here, I'll check into my file and get that to happen. So anyway, if you would be so kind to keep yourself muted while this is all going on, that'd be great. And again, if you want to be ask a question, you can either put it in the chat, or what you can do is something else, which is raise your hand. Just go down to the React and raise your hand like I'm doing now, and then I'll call on you and be sure and get you unmuted. So anyway, with that, I'm going to share a little bit of my PowerPoint here and just give a little bit of a talk about lucid dreaming, things that I've noticed after 50 years of lucid dreaming. So just this morning, we came out with the latest edition of the free online lucid dreaming experience magazine. My friend Lucy Gillis and I have been doing this for almost 25 years now that I think about it. So if you go to our website at luciddreamingmagazine.com, I think we have the last 20 years of past issues up. So I know people get on Netflix and binge watch, but if you want to binge read, what you can do is binge read by going to luciddreamingmagazine.com and going to past issues and all. There's some incredible articles in here, and one I hope you'll definitely read is the interview that I always do with an experienced lucid dreamer. There's this gentleman, Lee Irwin, who's used to be a professor at a university on the East Coast and written lots of books on dreaming, especially in cultures like the Native American culture and other cultures. I interview him for this, and if you read to the very end of the interview, I just blown away by some of the experiences that he's had. So he's really an extraordinary lucid dreamer. But what I wanted to do, and I got to get my thing to work here. What I want to do is talk about a lucid dream that was in this new issue of the magazine that just came out this morning. So this woman, Simona, submitted this lucid dream, and she titled it Increasing Milk Production for My Baby. And so I'm just going to read this just so everyone can tag along. She writes, with my first daughter, I had a big problem with breastfeeding. I won the fight eventually, but my production was only about 30% of what she needed. I did all the courses so I wouldn't repeat the same mistakes with my second child. So she had the second child in July, and I was convinced that this time I would have enough milk, but alas, my body just didn't want to produce enough. So one night, 6 weeks after birth, I became aware in a dream while walking in a city. So she becomes lucidly aware as she's walking through this city and realizes, oh, this is a dream. She said, I was so happy because since getting pregnant, I hadn't been able to lucid dream anymore. I think I was just too tired. I immediately started flying and enjoying ecstatic vibrations throughout my whole body. I looked at the city below, thinking that since I grew up in a city, my mind tends to place all my dreams in an urban landscape. I was observing how the houses and details looked so real when I remembered that I had a task to try to increase my milk production. In the dream, it didn't seem very important, but she goes ahead and she says, I waved my hands over my chest anyway with the thought, just make more milk, okay? So Then I continued enjoying my flight. During the next 2 weeks, my milk production increased to 80 to 100%, apparently of what the child needed, which was much more than she had been. So I only needed to add extra milk occasionally. I'm still amazed by how our mind can influence bodily reactions through dreams. And of course, this was a lucid dream. So there's a few things that I want to just mention here because in every lucid dream, it's important to kind of look back at it and kind of do a debriefing to kind of see what happened and why did whatever happen the way it happened. So the first thing I want to just mention and share is that Simona did something important. She acted on her own behalf for a healing, for a change in her physical body. So in the world of psychology, we'd call this having an internal locus of control. She decided to take an action in order to achieve what she wanted. So that's having that sense within yourself that, oh, I could do this. And what did she do? She said that within the lucid dream, after she remembered this task, she decided to wave her hands over my chest and with the thought, just make more milk, okay? Just kind of with that basic intent to tell her breasts that, we need more milk. Then I continued enjoying my flight. Also, besides having an internal locus of control, which is also positively correlated with having more lucid dreams, people who have more of a sense of an internal locus of control are more likely to have lucid dreams than those who have an external locus of control, according to the research. The second point is Simona had a neutral to positive belief and expectation in her mind. So she just had this idea that through the lucid dream state, she could change a bodily response or a health response. And she goes, during the next 2 weeks, my production increased to 80% to 100%. So I only needed to add extra milk occasionally. I'm still amazed by how our mind can influence bodily reactions through dreams. And so when she writes that, that gives me the idea that she already basically accepted the idea that within a lucid dream, you could influence the body. And there's been a lot of research that Stephen LaBerge has done that shows how a lucid dream action influences the physical body. So the proof of concept is there that a lucid dream action can influence the body, but in terms of formal studies on using lucid dreaming to resolve health issues, that hasn't formally occurred. In my first book, I have an entire chapter on healing in lucid dreams with about a dozen examples of successful healing. And then I have 2 or 3 examples where people didn't heal. And you could see that they did not have a neutral to positive belief.
None of that in my room.
They basically resisted the idea.
Talk to you after.
Hi, Eric. You're going to have to turn off your mic if you would. Yep.
Gosh.
Thanks. I'm going to stop sharing here for a second and be sure that I can help Eric along here. Anyway. Okay. If you don't have your mic muted, everyone just please be so kind as to do that. Yeah. So I'm going to mute James and okay, here we go. So anyway, just to go on with the story here. So she had a neutral to positive belief. And so that's what I would say that's important about the nature of the mind. If you're already against something, if you're resistant to it, it's hard to make it happen. And that's whether you're, dealing with a situation in the waking world or dealing with a situation in the dream world or the lucid dream world. If you doubt it, if you don't trust it, if you fight it, if you resist it, there's a good chance it's not going to happen. But if you have a neutral to positive belief that, oh yeah, that might happen, I could probably get that to happen, then there's a good chance that with that kind of mental framework, then something will go ahead and you'll see what you get, and probably you'll get exactly what you intend to get because you're not resisting your intent. And then my final comment here, she acted and accepted that she had done her part. So as soon as she waves her hand over her chest and says in her mind, just make more milk, okay? Then she goes on and continues enjoying her fight. She doesn't get anxious about it, worry about it, doubt it, mistrust it, or any of that. She's just like, okay, I've done what I can do. I'm going to go on and enjoy my fight. And that's another thing that oftentimes I'll see in people who have positive experiences, that they don't sit there in the dream, in the lucid dream, wondering, oh, did I do enough? Should have done more? Blah, blah, blah. They just like, I've done my part, and there we go. So I was really happy to read Simona's lucid dream, and really happy that it led to such a positive outcome. Again, if you want to read the spring issue that just came out this morning, just go to luciddreammagazine.com after we're done, and you can read about Simona's experience. There's some other incredible experiences in there as well as articles and all on lucid dreaming. Now, one thing that I did want to mention before we get to your questions, the next issue, which will come out in 3 months, is lucid dreams. The focus is lucid dreams involving deceased dream figures. And I know that this is something that happens to a lot of us. We're in a dream. We don't realize it's a dream. We're just going along. We walk through a room or whatever, and suddenly, whoa, there's grandma. She passed away 10 years ago. Wait a second. She's dead. Oh, this has to be a dream. We become lucidly aware. And so becoming lucidly aware at seeing a deceased dream figure is relatively common. What happens after that, though, can be either very mundane or can be extraordinary. And the mundane situations are the ones where someone just, oh, grandma, it's so great to see you, and gives grandma a hug and walks away. Here's what I tell people to do. Ask grandma, hey, grandma, what do you have to tell me? In my way of thinking, if grandma is there in a lucid dream, she's either a dream symbol or she is something else, possibly someone in the after death state with awareness. And if she's bothered to make her way into my dream, maybe she has something to tell me. And so I always ask deceased dream figures, what do you have to tell me? What do you have to say to me? If they have nothing to say, then I'm going to assume that they're just a dream symbol, a projection of my mind. Because if they have nothing to say, then they might have been called up by virtue of the context of the dream. Like if I find myself at my childhood home and, oh, grandma's there. Okay. Just a dream symbol, just part of the cast of characters that I would normally find at my home. But if I ask her a question and, grandma, what do you have to say to me? And sometimes people learn things that blow their mind. Sometimes they learn things that they don't know. And sometimes they'll get information about future events. And so it's always a good idea whenever you interact with a deceased dream figure to engage them in that way. Hey, what do you have to say to me? And then see what happens. Take it from there. So now we're going to open it up for questions, and I'll stop sharing and we'll go from there. So first, Raphael has his hand up, so I'm just going to have him go first.
Thank you so much. And Robert, did I remember that correctly, that he was changing the apartment last time? How is the living, or he was just traveling?
Hey, we're still in the process of putting stuff away, but that's okay with me. It takes a while to get settled.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I was just, wondering how is the movement, because, it's always taking, loads of things to be done, isn't it? So, I have a question, but can I just comment about the, very funny, experience that I have with this disease person, which was my grandmother, that she showed up in, in Lucid Dream. And, funny fact, I will not share all the stories. She gave me very important information about my own father, the things that I absolutely didn't know. But, the more funny item for me was that, 1 week before that, my own mother visited me, and she left something, in the closed room that I did not have any awareness. I just didn't open this place. And, so on the morning of next day after lucid dream related to my grandmother, and she was passing me this information, I just opened this door. And, I'm going over there, and there is a piece of material, of the clothes that my mother left, and that was belonging to my own grandmother. And there was her own initial, like name and surname. And, that my grandmother passed away like 15 years, beforehand. So, of course, I called to my mom and I said like, hey, what happened that you left that for me? Is, funny coincidence. I didn't share all the story, about lucid dream to my mom.
Right.
But, I just said I was dreaming about grandmother, and suddenly, you left that. And she said to me, yeah, 1 week ago when I was visiting you, your house, you wasn't there. And I just got this, hunch that, that maybe something for you. I don't know why, intuitive guessing. And I just left it over there for you. So just funny synchronicity, how both worlds was, in that, relationship in funny way.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thanks for sharing that. And I hope you'll write this up and send it into the LDE.
All right, of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
with my pleasure. And right now, can I just ask the question, which is related to lucid dreaming, but
Yeah.
also not fully, but to the dreams itself? Will be
Yeah.
that's okay?
Yeah. Please go
All
ahead.
right. So, and this is also related to, as you said, symbolic meaning, or, so my question will be, if I'm meeting the person, of course, if I'm fully lucid, I'm following the advice and idea, of course, if I remember that, what do you represent in me? So I chat with the, dream figures, or, doing anything like that. But sometimes, especially if this is related to some future events, as you just said it, I am in that position that is very hard for me to judge if, this is the real person that I'm meeting, or this is, part of my own psyche. And I know this line are blurry for all of us, isn't it? I guess where ends, especially in the dream or even in that reality, isn't it? But so, do you have any sort of, easy distinction? So, I had very important dream, and I wasn't lucid enough to ask the question, and I am not quite sure, if that friend that I met was really him and he was passing me a message about himself, or he was just saying about my own part, as my own part of me,
Right.
and passing that message.
Right. Yeah. That's an excellent question. So sometimes it can be challenging. So like 3 years ago, it was 3 or 4 years ago, it was January. The first week of January, I'm within a dream. I didn't realize it. I'm kind of walking through a party, and here around the corner comes my mother-in-law, Nona, and she had passed away like 10 years earlier. And so she looks about 40 years old, even though she passed away at 86. And at first I started laughing because I was thinking, oh my God, Nona, after 10 years, has finally entered my dream realm, and here she is. But then I thought, well, is she a dream symbol, or is she something else? So I asked her, Nona, what do you have to say to me? And she looks at me very seriously and says, I want you to know that September is a very important month. And I thought in my head, oh, yeah, this is the first week of January. So this is kind of interesting just in a time context. And I started laughing, though. I said, well, no, if you believe that September is important, I'm sure it's important. And she goes, no, September is going to be a very important month. And that's where I left it. I decided just to wake up and write it down. And when I woke up, I told my wife, I said, your mom came last night, and because your mom's from the land of the dead, I think she came to tell me that my mom's going to pass away in 9 months. So in the last week of August, we're going to drive 8 hours to my hometown and visit my mom and all that. Anyway, we did do that in the waking world. We drove 8 hours to visit my mom the last week in August. And the next weekend, which was the first weekend of September, she passed away. of a heart attack and all. So I was so glad that we got to go and see her. But you're right. Not in every lucid dream do we get information always outside of our own knowing or information that we could confirm later. Nona gave me something like September is going to be very important. And so when I woke up, I had an intuitive sense. But you do have a good point. Did Robert, the deeper parts of Robert, just call forth Nona as a dream figure to pass on a message in a lucid dream, knowing that Robert would ask, "What do you have to what do you have to say?" Was it all just a conspiracy of my unconscious mind, or was Nona actually in the after death state and all that kind of stuff? The reason that I would say I would argue for the latter is this. These after death communications occur in other settings besides lucid dreaming. I've had them just as I've been waking up. One of my brothers who's deceased has given me important information. There's this woman, Nona, who I mentioned, my mother-in-law, right before she passed, a few hours before she passed, my wife and I were there visiting her, bent down to give her a kiss goodbye. When I bent down to give her a kiss, it was like light was coming out of her face. I mean, this is happening in the waking world, and light shooting out of her face. And I'm thinking, what is going on here? And I walk out into the hall. Then my wife, her daughter, bends down to give her a kiss goodbye, and comes out into the hallway. And I looked at my wife and I said, "Wendy, did you see what I just saw?" And she says, "You mean the light coming out of her face?" And I was like, "Damn right, light was coming out of her face. That was incredible. That was nutty." And 3 hours later, as we're driving home, we get a call that she passed away. So, so because of that, even though I know that the unconscious mind could create it and produce it, I have a sense that it's the person themselves. The other evidentiary aspect would be this. Nona didn't appear as a woman that I knew. I knew her when she was 60, 70, and 80. She appeared as a woman who was like 35 or 40 and the whole thing. Oftentimes, deceased people adopt the year or the look where they were kind of most themselves or most empowered or whatever. Now, I don't know if that was the case with your particular friend who appeared, if he appeared like he was 21 and, that was his kind of glory day, whatever. But it's a tough question, Raphael. It's really a tough question.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I really, personally, I just wanted to add that I share absolutely the same beliefs as yours, and, I even don't want to say after the same as you said it, after a couple of experiences, this is less the belief and more evidential facts, isn't it? So I just wanted to say, but sometimes, I also, by meeting in the dream, I'm not quite sure, if this is that, symbolic figure or this is real person and, they just want to pass the message. So I was just curious
Yeah.
about that, but
Yeah, it's
wanted to
it's
say
it's
that's fine.
tough. It's tough too. I think the even tougher ones are when they want you to pass on a message to somebody, like
Mhm.
tell my parents blah blah blah, and you're thinking like, crap, do I want to get in this family dynamic or whatever? So anyway, but I appreciate the question. That's a good one.
Thank you so much. And I just wanted to say that you had such a blessing actually to being in possibility to say goodbye to your mom and
Oh,
everything else. So beautiful
you know,
experience.
the great thing was that you think of your parent, your mom as carrying you for 9 months. I had 9 months to kind of come to terms with my mom leaving this world. And for me, that was an incredible blessing because you can kind of wrap your head around it and all that. And that was really fantastic. But thanks, Raphael. We're going to go to Brianna next. Hi, Brianna.
Hi, Robert.
Hey
Hello,
there.
everyone.
Hi.
Um, my question is about a dream that I had last week. And for some context, I've had a meditation practice in waking life for many years now. And I'm trying to transform my relationship with thought, and I'm trying to maybe see through the illusion of my separate self with this meditation practice. So I've had some interesting experiences dreaming. Like I had this one where I became just like this calming I don't know, electricity. I just became this electricity. It was really beautiful. And I can't go into lucid dreaming all the time like when I want to. It seems more spontaneous. But last week I had one dream and I was in front of my laptop and it had a virus and these windows kept popping up and I was like, oh no, I have to stop the virus from replicating these windows. So I thought of forcing it to shut down and restart. And I would get close, all of the lights would start to shut down, but then they would all turn back on again, and the virus just kept replicating itself. And when I woke up, and that was a non-lucid dream. So when I woke up, I realized that represented my thought process. The virus was my thinking mind, and
Yes,
what I was
yeah.
trying to do is reprogram my thinking mind, or reprogram like the operating system of my mind to not have this negative thought identification. And so I thought, okay, if I fall back asleep again and I'm lucid, I'll try to get in front of that laptop and try something different. So it did happen. Within like an hour, I fell asleep. And I was in front of the laptop again, and I typed into the screen, how can I wake up? And I hit enter, and then all of these like numbers and letters that I couldn't read just started just going crazy. And then they slowed down, and I saw 98%. And then it started ticking down like 98% downward, 60 something percent. And then I woke up. And so I thought, okay, I don't know if anything happened yet, but I do know that, sometimes you give it some time and you'll notice a change in yourself or a change somehow. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. I just thought it was pretty fun, and maybe if you have any ideas of how I can get back into that state and try something else with that along those
Right.
lines.
No, no, Brianna, that's really beautiful. Thanks for sharing those experiences. You know, um, here's what I would say. Um, it sounds like you're pretty good at lucid dreaming. You can stabilize lucid dream. You have kind of a larger interest of kind of exploring the nature of the mind and meditating and various things. I don't know if you're in a particular school or system, Buddhist or Hindu or some other thing. Whatever it is, that's fine. Here's what I would say. This is what I think your dreams are suggesting to you as, and this is my view of your dreams. So you own your dream and you're all, but but I think what it's encouraging you to do is empty your mind. So here's what I would do if I were you. The next time you're in a lucid dream, decide that you're going to stop and meditate in a lucid dream by emptying your mind, by just letting it all go, getting down to zero immediately without waking up. You'll wake up when you get to zero, but in the case of meditating within a lucid dream, when you completely empty your mind, then I think you'll see that something shocking, surprising happens. And if you've read my book, you'll probably know what I tell you is probably going to happen. But if you haven't read my book, then have the experience first, and then go read my book and see
Oh,
if
I have, yeah.
yeah.
Read
So
it many
so
years ago.
so I think what will happen is once you empty your mind, you'll see as you meditate that the imagery begins to get ripped away and brilliant light comes shooting through. And basically what it's kind of showing is that within a lucid dream, the mind projects. The mind projects its mental energy out there, and it becomes a house and a dog and your friend Joey and this person and that person and everything. The mind projects. It projects out there. But when you completely and utterly empty the mind, then the projections disappear, and the light behind projections, which some Buddhist practices we call rigpa, kind of the base awareness shines through. So, so, so what you're trying to do is empty the mind. And, but here's the thing, people like to hold on to the mind because the mind is also the self. The mind also contains all the self-history, the self-thoughts, the preferences. Oh, I like this. I don't like that. Oh, I'm blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'm a this, I'm a that. It's like, good grief, let it all go. But people don't like to let go of themselves. And so fear oftentimes turns in when people begin to empty the mind and totally let go, is they want to hold on to the self, or they want to hold on to whatever. You just got to say, hey, I'm in a lucid dream. I'm not going to get hurt. Everything's groovy. I've probably done this, 1,000 lives before. I'm just going to completely let go and utterly let go and see what happens. So that's how I'd approach it. But it's beautiful that you have this relationship established with your inner awareness, and when you were talking about the virus with all the things popping up, I mean it's a lovely kind of symbolic expression of monkey mind. You know, monkey mind just has a million different things. Boom, boom, boom. Pay attention to this, do this, take care of that. Blah blah blah. I mean, monkey mind is in some regards kind of a virus in and of itself, and especially when you're on this deeper path to kind of understand the nature of mind.
Thank you
Cool.
so much.
Brianna, you go for it, girl. You're killing it. So thank you for sharing that. That's really super. I'm going to go to a chat question or two, then we'll get to Jesse, who has his hand up. Ken ask, I've read your two books about what you said about the differences between lucid dreaming and out-of-body experiences. I am wondering which you prefer and why. So I'll tell you, Ken, I've had more than 1,000 lucid dreams, and I just prefer lucid dreams better. And I'll tell you why I prefer them. So first, there's kind of, when I was a teenager and began to teach myself how to have lucid dreams, and then simultaneously, on occasion, there'd be out-of-body experiences. I didn't like all the energy and humming and buzzing and shooting out and flopping back in and all that of an out-of-body. It's just like, you know, that just didn't appeal to me at the time. I mean, now I probably find it much more fun, but now I normally don't have those symptoms. They don't happen like that. But so I kind of got interested in the lucid dreaming path because it was just, oh, you become aware in a dream. You see Princess Margaret walking down the street. What's she doing in my neighborhood? Oh, this is a dream. That was just easy, simple. The other thing, lucid dreaming, I think, showed me more clearly the nature of the mind, how your beliefs, expectation, emotions, focus, intent help to create the things around you and all that kind of stuff. Also, as I went deeper into lucid dreaming and saw how you could use it for emotional and psychological healing, for physical healing, for all of that, that's when I decided, this is a wonderful path. It's not to say that out of bodies don't have their own particular abilities or characteristics or achievements and all of that. And some people in out of bodies have managed to heal themselves and all. But in lucid dreaming, it just seems closer to the nature of the waking self. And so therefore it's much easier to manipulate. And so that's why I prefer lucid dreams over out of bodies. Michael writes, I recently dreamt Wallace and Gromit had sex with dead babies and Lady Gaga killed them with a flamethrower and had sex with a charred corpse. And Michael goes on, I think we can use lucid dreaming to prove supernatural things. The Lucid Dreaming Reddit says, don't post supernatural stuff, but lucid dreaming can be used to explore past lives and do magic healing, among other things. I often dream that I'm hooded and masked in a dark alley on a misty night, that I'm hooded and masked in misty countryside far from civilization. Oh, that's interesting symbolism there. Anyway, so Tanya has 3 quick questions. What would you equate as the daytime state of mind that most closely approximates the lucid state? Well, that's a good one. Sometimes the daytime state of mind would be when you're most mindful, but other times it would be when you're in neutral, when you're disengaged, when you're free flowing, because you're not focused on anything, you don't have any intent in your mind, the monkey mind isn't racing away and all that kind of stuff. And so it's sometimes when you're in a state of equilibrium that would most approximate the lucid state. But being in that state of equilibrium, someone might look at you and say, "Oh, they're just listening to music," or "Oh, they're just driving down that boring highway." But your mind's kind of in a special space. Oftentimes, that's when you receive intuitions, when you're actually kind of connecting with deeper layers of the self, I feel. Um, so, so Tanya writes, also last month you gave your email to ask for the interviews with, so some Farsi speaking lucid dreamers had read my book and had a bunch of questions for me, and I responded to them. Uh, okay, Tanya, if you'll resend that email again, then I'll be sure. I got emails from lots of people. I thought I'd responded to everybody, but you look that up again and resend it, and I'll respond. Um, you wanted to know about the story about the man who changed his life. His outer world really changed during the practice. Do you have this story written also? And can I get that too? Okay, so Tanya, if you read my book, Lucid Dreaming, Gateway to the Inner Self, or I'm sorry, Lucid Dreaming, Plain and Simple, I think you'll find in here, yeah, you'll find in here, oh, no, you won't. You won't find it there. Here's where you're going to find it. Um, so go to the luciddreamingmagazine.com and you're going to have to look up his name in our index. So let me think about that because I can see his face. I want to say, oh, I'm pretty sure it's this. So go to the Lucid Dreaming Experience magazine. Look for my interview on with Mike Porter, and there you can read the experience. But basically, he was the guy who said he grew up in kind of a really tough family that was really mean and cruel to each other. And he read my book. He's having lucid dreams all the time, but most of them were kind of nightmarish, and where he'd have to fight or flee or whatever. And then he read my book and realized, oh, you could respond to these nasty dream figures by sending them love and understanding and compassion. And then they began to change. And as he did that in all of his lucid dreams, then his life at work changed. All of his coworkers, now they're super nice to him. And then at home, his family changed. All of a sudden, within a month, his family was now talking about spiritual stuff and caring and compassion and loving one another. And he said it was like he entered a different planet. But you have to read the interview because Mike has also shared a fair number of other lucid dreams that he's had. But really a fascinating guy. So,
great. Thank you so much. I
yep,
appreciate it.
yep. Thank you. Okay, now Jesse, thanks for your patience. We'll go to you. Hey there. I'm sorry, Jesse, I can't hear you if you're speaking. So you're unmuted, so that's good. I just don't know if you have your volume up or you might have headphones in or something that are. Well, I'll tell you what, Jesse, you keep trying to figure out what the deal is there, and I'm going to go on to another question here in the chat room. So just keep talking whenever you think you've got it, and then I'll know you've broken through. Okay, James writes, are you there, Jesse? Yep.
Yeah, is that working?
Yep, now it's working. Now you're good.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Thanks so much for that.
Yeah.
Okay, I submitted a question to Jake, and I'll just read it out to you now.
Perfect.
So I have noticed from reading lucid dream reports that some lucid dreamers find some things really easy and some people find things really difficult, and it's kind of unique for everyone. So, for example, I find it very difficult to travel to like a pre-chosen destination. If I choose, I want to get to New York City, I get lucid. I've tried lots of techniques like the spinning technique, using a doorway as a portal. I've tried, multiple dreams over years, and I just haven't really broken through with that one. But on the flip side, I've discovered that I find it really easy and effortless that when I get lucid, I can project myself out of my dream body and into the dream bodies of the characters around me. And, just having this experience has just kind of made me feel like understanding what it's like to be disembodied consciousness. And it's kind of shaking up my ego of like, this idea of Jesse is just kind of like this role that I play, or like, like a mask or something like that. And my question is, do you have any suggestions or tips about how I could use this skill that I've got in this area to create what you would call lucid dreams of quality?
Right. Yeah. So that's a great one. First, to your first point, all of us are uniquely ourselves, and we have our own kind of mindset. Some of us have beliefs where, oh, healing the body, piece of cake. Oh, flying to Mars, oh man, that's impossible. That could never happen. How could I ever escape the bounds of the earth? And other people, oh, get to Mars, piece of cake. Heal the body? Are you crazy? That would never happen. So a lot of it, initially, you have to work through the filter of your own beliefs, expectation, focus, and intent, and all that. That is normally the number one issue. Then after that is sometimes there's an emotional subset that we either have a fear or concern about that. So somebody will have a fear or concern about going to Mars. The other person has no fear or concern. They look forward to it, do it easily. Other person has a fear or concern about healing their body. Oh, if I heal my body, what if I screw up and do something bad? And then all of a sudden they block themselves. So sometimes there's an emotional aspect. But relative to your issue, here's what I'd say. Okay, your goal is that you want to go places. You want to go to France, you want to go to Patagonia, you want to go to Easter Island, whatever, wherever you want to go. Here's what I would do if I were you. You said it's easy to project your awareness. You could project your awareness into that tree, into that dream figure over there. Okay, project your awareness into one of those statues on Easter Island. Boom. All of a sudden, here I am on Easter Island. Just figure out what is the thing particular to that space. It's the tourists looking at the Eiffel Tower. It's the, person in the outrigger canoe off of Hawaii. Whatever it is, project yourself to that particular subset. And I think you'll find it easy to suddenly get where you want to get, and all. So that would be how I would probably approach this. The other thing you could do is interact with the larger awareness, and that's what I write about in my books. Just to do it like that.
Awesome. Great. I'll try that. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Good luck with it. Yeah, that's cool. No, that's great that you have that capacity. Here's the larger subtext that I'll get into, just because I can't stop myself. Is we all exist within a larger framework. There's a foundational aspect of Jesse that Jesse feels, but might call the unconscious, might call the inner awareness, might call the source self, might just call, dumb luck or whatever. But there's this foundational awareness, and we all feel it. And sometimes I think that foundational awareness is actually trying to guide us and educate us to some degree in a fair number of lucid dreams. And so they put up these kind of tests and challenges that we have to work a creative solution out to. And by doing that, we grow. And so this is what I realized, in my 50-year lucid dreaming journey. I mean, it only took me about 10 years to realize that, I'm being tested on occasion, to come up with a creative solution here. And you'll see this too in recurring dreams. You have the recurring dream, you have the recurring reaction to the recurring dream. You have the recurring dream, recurring reaction. You have the recurring dream, and now you come up with a new creative response. Recurring dream disappears. It's gone. And why? Because finally you used your head and your thinking and came up with a new creative response. You passed the test. So part of the lesson there is if you get involved in a recurring thing, try to sit back and think of it lucidly, like, what am I being shown? What am I seeing here? What's the creative solution to get beyond this? And take it from there. So anyway, that's cool. That's cool. Congratulations on your ability to project your awareness. That's really a good one. Okay, now I'm going back to the chat room questions. So James writes, often when I become lucid, it feels as though I'm in a dual state of both dreaming and being semi-awake. I feel that I'm lucid within a dream and simultaneously aware of my waking self. Is this true lucidity, or is my conscious mind simply employing imagination in a partially awake state? In contrast, when I'm engaged in absolute lucidity, there is no awareness of my waking self. My question is, are there gradations of lucidity, with some lucid states being much deeper and more immersive than others? Okay, James, you have a wonderful point. There are levels of lucidity, and you can be shallowly engaged in the lucid dream and also aware of what's going on with your body at the same time. You can be very deep into the lucid dream. You can be super lucid, is what my friend Ed Kellogg would call it. So there are gradations. In this dual state, you say, of being both dreaming and being semi-awake, sometimes people report this who have moments of insomnia, because they're kind of drifting between sleep and the gateway to sleep and actual sleep and being awake. They're kind of drifting in and out. And so sometimes this kind of people have this kind of question. But I'll tell you, if you can influence things, if you realize within a dream you're dreaming, then you're having a lucid dream. I think if you were in a sleep lab, it would show that you were truly in a lucid dream. The other thing I'd say, though, if you have this experience a lot, some people have this idea of kind of being lucid and exploring waking at the same time. And so like in my book, I share a story of one time I was in a lucid dream. And then even though I was in this lucid dream having fun with all the dream figures, I realized my physical body was having a hard time breathing. And so now I had to focus on my physical body, and the party's still going on in the lucid dream. But now I'm thinking, is there something in my mouth, in my physical mouth? And then, the party's still going on in the lucid dream. And then I think, gosh, I think I've swallowed the bed sheet and it's halfway, in my mouth. And finally I think, well, screw the lucid dream. I'm going to find out what's going on topside. So I told myself to wake up. I woke up and I had the sheet in my mouth. I couldn't believe it, that I'd done that. So anyway, it's an interesting thing, but play with it, and I think you'll see how curious it all is. Okay, so Marta asks, could I ask in a lucid dream to show me memories that I don't consciously remember from when I was a child? Would it work? Okay, so here's the first issue. Do you believe that it's even possible? Because if you believe that it's impossible, don't even try. If you believe that, oh no, and how would I even prove it? And all that kind of stuff. I mean, if you're starting from there, but if you have an older sibling, like let's say you have an older sister or older brother who's 2 or 3 years older than you, you could in a lucid dream ask, now in my lucid dream, show me the first time my brother John saw me walk as a baby. And then all of a sudden you see yourself, and here's this old-fashioned TV in the background, and there's your brother John, who's all of 5 years old, watching you, laughing and everything. And you can see, the furniture and everything. And then you wake up from the experience. Then you call up your brother John and say, hey, John, did you watch me as a kid learn how to walk. And, oh, yeah, I was there when you first started walking. It was really incredible. You were so bad, but you'd always laugh every time you'd fall down. Then you could get some sort of validation of your experience. Um, so, but Marta also asked, could this also work regarding my grandmother, which I believe passed through me some transgenerational trauma to carry heal? So anyway, here's what I would say, Marta. If this was me, if I felt transgenerational trauma to carry heal, I would not go searching for the source. Who wants to know the source? Who cares about the source? I just want to stop the transgenerational passing on of the trauma. And so that's what I would focus on is the healing. I want to focus on, oh, it all started here. Well, no, it actually started 2 lives earlier back here. Oh, no, it really started there. How's that going to help? I would focus on the healing aspect. And in my book, I talk about emotional and psychological healing. That's what I would focus on and how you could use that within the lucid dream to help the rest of the family. Okay, so Bruce has a good point. He says for dealing with monkey mind and leveraging a mindfulness habit into lucid dreaming, here's what he finds useful. Do not try to push away the thoughts. That's not mindfulness. Okay, so trying to fight the virus just creates more of the virus. It's just a response to the virus. Oh, I stopped it. Oh, no, here it popped up again. Oh, I stopped it here. Then you're just involved in this cause-effect crazy reality. So I think that's what Bruce is trying to get apart here. Bruce goes on, lucid dreaming is a good analogy for mindfulness. You get carried away in a dream, then you suddenly become aware and you recognize that you're dreaming. It's the same with thoughts in waking life. You get carried away in daily thought flow, and then suddenly you become aware and recognize, hey, I'm thinking. And each time you recognize a thought, it's in many respects a moment of lucidity. The more you exercise this capacity for lucidity, the better, and it can carry over into the dream state. So that's a good point. Similarly, when a thought arises in your meditation and you recognize the thought, be grateful for this moment of lucidity as you would a lucid dream. Then gently return your awareness to your breath, how you frame your thoughts, leverages incredible value in both the waking and dream states. Seeing thoughts as obstacles to a peaceful mind or inversely seeing them as invitation to greater awareness can dramatically affect the quality of both your meditations as well as triggering lucidity in the dream state. Okay, Bruce, we got to get you your own meditation channel because that was all very well said. So thanks for sharing all that. But it is really important to understand lucid dreaming teaches us about the nature of the mind. And we can use that through lucid living. We can transfer what we're learning about the nature of the mind in lucid dreams to the waking world and become more awake and more aware, more mindful in the waking state. Also in my second book, Lucid Dreaming Plain and Simple, I share a technique that I created using mindfulness, waking day mindfulness, that got me up to having 30 lucid dreams a month. So again, you can use a waking state mindfulness technique that will, if you do it routinely, then you'll become more mindful in your dreams. And what'll happen? When you're more mindful in your dreams, you'll realize, screw it. How'd I get here? This is a dream. I'm dreaming this. And that's how I got up to having 30 lucid dreams a month, just by being more mindful during the day, by teaching myself this mindfulness technique that I created. Okay, so Sierra has a good one. I went to try to use lucid dreaming to quit smoking, but in 2 years of practice, I've only had about 5 lucid dreams. I think the biggest issue is my dream recall. So sometimes I think it's probably just not going to happen anyway. Sometimes I think my brain doesn't want me to do it this way, quit smoking via lucid dreaming, because it's like I'm cheating, trying to take the easy way out. Just wondering if you think my brain thinks I'm lazy. Just kidding. Another part of me thinks that my brain is worried about allowing me to try, because if it doesn't work, then I won't believe lucid dreaming is as powerful as I think it is now. As I type this out, I realize chances are I just overthink things and I have no idea how not to do it. Anyway, thanks for any advice you might have. Here's what I do, Sierra. I do what I call lucid light, L-I-T-E. So you go to the grocery store, you get full yogurt or you get yogurt light, with half the calories and all that. So here's the baby step. And what the baby step is called is dream incubation. Before you go to sleep, you incubate a phrase and you repeat it over and over and over and make it the focus of your night's dreaming. And then whatever dreams you have that night, you write them down and you see how they relate to that question. So here would be a beginning way to start it. Tonight in my dreams, show me one simple thing that I could do that would end my use of cigarettes, or that would help me quit smoking, however you want to phrase it. Tonight in my dreams, show me one simple thing I could do that would help me quit smoking. And so you might dream of some behavior pattern you have that leads to wanting a cigarette. And you go, oh, I have to stop that? Oh, if I just stop that little silly behavior pattern, then that won't lead to me wanting a cigarette? Oh, I'm going to give that a try. Like there was a woman, she was in one of my courses. We were talking about dream incubation. I said, okay, tonight in my dreams, show me one simple thing I can do to improve my health. How about that? So that night, here's what she dreams. She dreams that she's holding her coffee cup, her morning coffee cup, the same one she uses every morning. But instead of coffee being inside of it, there's red liquid. And she looks at the red liquid and thinks, whoa, that looks like hibiscus tea. She wakes up in the morning and she remembers that she told herself, tonight in my dreams, show me one simple thing I could do to improve my health. What happens? She goes to the store, gets hibiscus tea. Instead of drinking coffee in the morning, she drinks the hibiscus tea. She said after the first morning of drinking hibiscus tea, all of her stomach pains went away. And then the more she drank hibiscus tea, ongoing, her stomach pains went away. And she was like just totally blown away. So again, tonight in my dreams, show me one simple thing I could do that would help me quit smoking. But once you dream it, you got to connect it, you got to understand it, and then you got to go with it. I remember once when COVID happened, I asked myself before I went to sleep, now that COVID's happened and I'm not flying around giving lucid dreaming talk, show me one simple thing I could do, to take advantage of this time period. That night, I saw myself dusting off my exercise equipment. So the message wasn't, oh, you need to dust more. It was like, get on the frickin' exercise bike and start exercising. That would be really helpful for you at this time. So sometimes you have to understand that the response comes in a symbolic way. And sometimes it's very literal, drink hibiscus tea. Other times it's a little bit more, clean off your exercise bike and then get on it and start to exercise. Anyway, Sierra, we all have this inner awareness. It's there to help us and help us grow. If you begin to use dream incubation, I met dream incubators who are having more dreams of quality than lots of lucid dreamers. So don't worry about that. Anyway, okay, Eric brings up an important question here at the end. As a tangent into this, we have breath as an anchor to meditation. Do you have something similar for a lucid dream? Well, what I would say there, Eric, is breath awareness and meditation is just one approach to meditation. There's lots of other approaches. People chant mantras, people do mantra chants along with visualization, other people empty their mind. So that's one approach. The problem is sometimes I've asked people to meditate in lucid dreams. They begin to focus on their breath and they wake themselves up because now instead of focusing into the lucid dream experience, now they're reconnecting with their physical body and all that, and they have a tendency to wake up. But to get to your other point, do you have something similar for a lucid dream? I say when it comes to lucid dreaming, the anchor is mindfulness. Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche says all the time, if you're more aware during the day, you'll be more aware at night and much more likely to become lucidly aware. And so it's really what I would say the anchor is mindfulness. And that's what I hope people take from that story. Well, anyway, everyone, we've come to the hour here, and I have to go along to an appointment here, so I'm going to bring this all to an end. I did want to just request one thing. I'm happy to always do this for folks each month, first Wednesday or Thursday of each month. But if people would feel free to submit a lucid dream to our magazine. Now, the next issue is going to be about deceased dream figures. That's what's going to be the focus. But if you have a lucid dream about something else, about meditating in a lucid dream, about working on your computer with all the viruses flashing in front of you while you're actively trying to combat each virus, if you have something like that, go ahead and submit it. It doesn't have to be about deceased dream figures. But if you do, we'd love to have them. And the great thing, the Lucid Dreaming Experience magazine is free, available to anybody. You can share it online, do whatever. And we just do it to educate and inform other lucid dreamers. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing that. I want to thank everyone again for your time and interest, and also your lucid dreaming too. People don't understand the depths of lucid dreaming. And when you've been doing it for more than 40 years, like myself, you realize it's a long journey. It's a long journey. But sometimes you can have that crucial lucid dream that suddenly breaks away the emotional barrier, the fear, the concern, or whatever it is. Sometimes you can have the other one that breaks down the limiting beliefs, the thought that is keeping you from growing and exploring and becoming your most true self. So keep going with it. There's droughty periods. There's periods where you'll go months without a lucid dream. Just keep with it. Keep with it. And if it's not working, do dream incubation. All of us have this interconnection, but we got to reach out in order to see it actively expressed. So with that, I'll let you all go, and hopefully see you in a month or so. Adios, everyone. Hang in there. Cheerios.